Hi, and welcome to day one of my Civil Rights Movement Unit Plan. This is Ms. G, and this is Class ELA, Social Studies 9 Inclusion. Let me give you a brief description of this class makeup. It's very diverse, and it's of mixed abilities. I have 3 students with an IEP, 1 with a 504. So today, let's move right into day one of our lesson. Okay, students are going to come in and they are going to get right to work on their do nows. Okay, do nows are routine. Okay, they're going to answer today's do now. Describe a time when you or someone you know was bullied, felt left out, or put down because of appearance, religion, age, gender, culture, etc. How did you or they overcome the problem? This is activating prior knowledge before they actually begin moving into the topic of civil rights movement. Okay, this should take about 5 to 10 minutes, no more than 10 minutes. It's very routine. Okay, once they have finished this, we're going to share out loud our thoughts and ideas, and then we're going to move on to understanding the day's lesson objective, which is what does it mean to be civil? Okay, in order to understand why the civil rights movement emerged and how the people involved accomplished their fight to civil rights, you need to understand what the word civil means. Okay, so this is today's lesson objective. It's going to give them time to think about it, and then we're going to briefly go over why we need to know this. Okay, we need to know about the civil rights movement because cultural diversity is on the rise in the U.S. Okay, no matter where you go, the hospital, school, work. Okay, people are very diverse today. Okay, so that's one reason. Another reason is because discrimination still exists as a major issue today. All right. We also need to know about this so that we can become more active citizens in our society, and also to promote civil relationships and acceptance of others and their differences. Okay, so this is why we need to know about the civil rights movement. Okay, once we've accomplished that, then we are going to briefly cover the day's learning standards that we're going to focus on in the lesson. Okay, CEC standard, promote meaningful and inclusive participation of individuals with exceptionalities in their schools and community. Okay, Common Core Learning Standards, Social Studies and ELA 9.4, determine the meaning of words and phrases as they are used in a text. This is focusing around reading and vocabulary. And then also Common Core Learning Standards, ELA 9.2, introduce a topic, organize complex ideas, concepts, and information to make important connections. This is focused around writing. Okay, our 3 essential learning standards for the lesson. Okay, next we are going to, before we move into our African slave trade video, the kids are going to get familiar with the vocabulary in the unit, okay? Students with special needs in particular have a very difficult time comprehending if they are unfamiliar with vocabulary, so they're going to use certain strategies such as, let me just be brief about this. They're going to create student-led vocabulary cards. Okay, this one is the word civil. They're going to define the word from the dictionary. They're going to create a sentence with the meaning, and they're going to draw a picture. Visuals are very good for special needs learners to demonstrate their thinking through illustrations. And they're also going to create a synonym for the word. Okay, those are student-led vocabulary cards. They're going to create synonym webs. Again, this is the word civil, and these are all synonyms for the word civil. Okay, they're gonna fill out one of those. Well, prior to that, I should show this first, but prior to that, the students are going to check off. Let me see here. Here it is. Prior to that, the kids are going to check off words on the word knowledge checklist. This lists all the vocabulary words that are going to be in this unit. Okay, they're going to check off words they don't know, words they do know. Words that they don't know, they're going to create those student-led vocabulary cards for, along with the synonym webs. Okay, so they can get familiar with the unit's vocabulary. Next, all students are going to start filling out KWL charts. Okay, this is what they know, what they want to know, and what they want to learn. Okay, so this is just an example. Okay, so I can get an idea of who's familiar with the topic already and the vocabulary involved with the unit. Okay. Once that's established, we are going to move into our African slave trade video. It's about 4 minutes. I'm not going to show it, but it is hyperlinked into the slide so the kids can have automatic access to it. Okay. Once we have, before we watch the video, I'm going to assign them one of 3 essential questions that they're going to be assessed on after the video. Okay, and these are the questions. These are post-video assessment questions. Okay. Why was the African slave trade considered different from earlier types of slavery? How are the African Americans affected by this movement? What types of uncivil acts can you identify from watching this video? Okay, each of them are going to be assigned a question, and then after the video, in a whole class discussion, they're going to share their answers. Okay. Okay, once that is done, the students are going to break up into cooperative learning groups of 3 to 4 students, okay? And they're going to be provided with copies of the poem Strong Men by Sterling A. Brown. Each student in the group is going to get a copy, okay? And the copies look like this, okay? It's 2 pages. Not too long of a poem, but, I'm sorry. Okay, this is the copies they're going to get. So once they get their copies and they're in their groups, they are going to skim over the poem for any unfamiliar vocabulary. Again, vocabulary knowledge enhances comprehension. So they're gonna skim over, they're gonna highlight any words they don't know, and then the group reader is going to read the poem 2 times. Each group is going to have a reader in the group. And then each group is going to create 4 questions in their group using the Bloom's taxonomy 6-tiered thinking process to help them understand the poem better, okay? So they're going to use question prompts. These are all based on the Bloom's taxonomy 6-tiered thinking process, okay? Remembering, understanding, applying, analyzing, evaluating, and creating. Okay, they're going to, particularly the special needs learners are going to need something to guide them on this part of the activity. Okay, each student in the group is going to have to create a question and initial their name next to the question that they came up with so that I can see they participated and understand the content. Okay, and then they're going to get question maps, and this is what they're going to look like. Okay, each student is going to get one. And this is an example of a level 1 recalling question, who is they in the poem. Level 2, understanding, what does the phrase, they heard the laugh and wandered uncomfortable mean? Level 4, analyzing, what kind of person is the slave? Describe the characteristics of the slave. And level 5, evaluating, illustrate the first stanza of this poem. Okay, level 5, the illustration portion is, I find, is very beneficial to the student, the special needs learner, because they have an easier time demonstrating their understanding through illustrations. Okay, so that will take us to the end of our ELA portion of the activity. And then once they are back into their individual seats, we're going to go back over the day's lesson objective. What does it mean to be civil? Okay, and to answer that, we are going to recap the daily lesson. Okay, they watched the video, they did some post-assessment questions, they started analyzing the poem Strongmen, which is probably going to carry on into the next day. That this activity probably won't be finished, but they started getting familiar with this poem, and then forms of uncivilized acts between the human race during the African slave trade. Okay, and this part is very beneficial for special needs learners, because visuals help them reflect and understand the concepts better. Okay, so once we recap, reflect on what we learned, students are going to get either a blue card or a green card. Okay, students with blue cards are going to hold up their cards so I can make sure they have the right color. Okay, students with blue cards, they're going to write one thing they learned from the day's lesson, and they're going to begin by stating, today I learned, okay, and they're going to write one example of how they can be civil to others. Family, friends, community members, it could be anybody, okay, and they're going to begin by stating, I can be civil to others by, okay, those are students with blue cards. Students with green cards, okay, we're going to hold up their green cards so I can make sure they have the right card, and these cards are called exit passes. They're basically quick assessments to assure me that they met the lesson objective for the day. It can include something they learned, a vocabulary word, anything, so that I can be assured that they met the daily lesson objective. Okay, so students with green cards are going to write one thing they learned from the lesson. They're going to begin by stating, today I learned. They are going to write down one vocabulary card they learned. One vocabulary word they learned, and they can even illustrate it, okay? Again, illustrating is very beneficial to special needs learners, okay? They need visuals. Okay, and then they're going to write one example of how they could be civil to others too. Family, friends, community members, and use complete sentences. I can be civil to others by. Okay, that should take about 5 to 10 minutes. And then once that's complete, we are going to wrap up the lesson with our interactive closing assessment activity. Students are going to take turns coming up to the board. They're going to identify either the word civil or uncivil with each picture, and they're going to drag the term civil to the picture, and they're going to explain to me why the picture's demonstrating a civil or uncivil act, okay? And this will assure me that they've met the daily objective of what it means to be civil. Okay, so that's it. Thank you for attending class with me today. Thanks.